All right, so we're going to start off actually doing some breathing exercises. And before we do that, I'm going to read just a little bit from this intro of this devotion. And it starts off with a quote. And the quote is, "The wilderness holds answers to more questions than we have yet learned to ask." So let me say that again. I'm going to turn this music down a little bit. The wilderness holds answers to more questions than we have yet learned to ask. And it's listening with all of your heart, soul, strength, and mind. And this particular devotion is called Soul Wrestling. And I'm going to put it along with the scripture readings of Jesus going into the desert to be tempted by the devil. If you watched service on Sunday, and I don't know if all churches are the same, because some people I know are coming from different churches. Our gospel was about this, about Jesus going into the desert, so I thought it was a perfect segue. So we're going to start off with breathing, all right? And so I want you to put your hands on your belly and relax your shoulders back and down, and we're just going to do some deep belly breathing. Breathing when you're stretching is really important, and a lot of the times, unfortunately, people tend to hold their breath when they're stretching instead of breathing through it. So let's just practice some breathing. You can close your eyes if you want, you don't have to. Just take a big breath in through your nose. Feel your belly expand, your rib cage expand, and then exhale through your mouth. And try to push all the air out like you're wringing a wet rag. And breathe in again. And out. Now you don't have to breathe this deeply while you're stretching, but I just want you to be aware of your breath while you are stretching, okay? Okay, let's take one more big breath in. And exhale. Good. So the first scripture reading that I'm going to read before we start warming up is from Mark, and this was the scripture that was read on this past Sunday. At once the Spirit sent him out into the desert, and he was in the desert 40 days, being tempted by Satan. He was with the wild animals, and the angels attended him. So while we're starting to go through these range of motion exercises, I want you to think about your wilderness and your desert and what that means for you, okay? So I want you to take your chin to your chest. We're going to start off with your neck and then bring it back to neutral. And then take the chin to chest and bring it back to neutral. So it's just like you're nodding no, but you're not going all the way back. You're just coming to neutral. Down to the chin to the chest and then back to neutral. Let's do one more. Inhale and exhale. Good. Now gently turn your head to the right. Come center and the left like you're saying no. But you're trying to keep that nose on the same plane as you turn your head side to side. And only go as far as you're comfortable. We're just warming the neck up right now. If your neck's a little stiff, don't push it, okay? We'll get it stretched out a little bit deeper later. And let's do it one more each direction. And bring it back to center. Good. Now take your ear to your shoulder and bring it to center, ear to your shoulder. And again, don't force it, just as far as it'll go. I do want you to focus though on keeping your nose and your chin facing forward, so don't let your chin drop to make it bigger. It's like your ear is listening to your shoulder. Your shoulder is telling your ear a secret. Just side to side. Let's do one more each direction. Good, now take it to the side and let it roll from the front to the other side and then stop. And then take it back the other way. Inhaling and then exhaling as it comes to the other side. Inhaling and exhaling. Let's do one more each direction and bring it back up to neutral. Good. All right, let's gently lift your shoulders up towards your ears and then gently release them down. Don't just let them fall. Lift it up, inhale, exhale, release. This is the only time I'm going to tell you to lift your shoulders up like this. Otherwise, I'm going to keep telling you to push them down. One more. Good. Now just gently roll the shoulders back, breathing out as you do that. Good. One more. And now take it the other direction. Good. And one more. And just release it. Good. All right, let's go into the arms a little bit more and the shoulders a little bit more. We're going to do some reaches. All right, so I'm going to start off just reaching straight up as high as you can. If this hurts your shoulder, then let it drop a little bit. And then other side, just reach and bring it down. Just alternating, and I'm trying to take it straight up out of the shoulder to start off with. Good. Breathe out as you reach. Good. One more. Now take that reach and cross your center a little bit, but keep your waist still. So just move the arm. And again, if that bothers the shoulder, let it drop in front a little bit more. Feel that stretch coming from your rib cage. Good, let's do one more each arm. Good, let's go into your waist a little bit now. Hands on your thighs, and I want you to just gently move your rib cage over your hips. Try to keep the shoulders out of it. They're just going to follow along. Really focus on moving the rib cage. And keep breathing. Just taking it side to side. Good, and now bring it center. And now I want you to take it forward. Inhale, exhale, roll it up. Inhale, forward. Exhale, roll it up. Now if you're on the floor, if you want to, you can take your feet out and make it a little bit bigger. Inhale and exhale. If you're seated on the chair, obviously you'll just stay where we were. Leading with the heart, inhale and exhale, rounding it up one more time. Inhale and exhale, rounding it up. Good. All right, you can cross your feet back again if you had them out. Now let's roll through the torso. Lead with the heart. So keep your head in line with your neck. And stop and let's go the other way. Good, and one more. And bring it back to center. Good. All right, I'm going to take my feet out again, and we're going to work on our toes a little bit. So if you're seated on a chair, it's the same movement. I want you to imagine that you're just kind of doing this, but with your toes. So it's like you're grabbing a pencil. You're grabbing a pencil here. You can't see my feet so much. See how I'm kind of like scraping my toes and pulling them in, just to warm those up a little bit. Good, one more. Good. Now if you're on the ground, you can go ahead and lay on your back. And if you're seated, you can stay seated. I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to tell the seated people first and then the laying down. So you're just, if you're laying down, you're just going to lift your leg one at a time. All right. And if you're laying down, it's the same thing. Just lift your leg up one at a time. So I'm going to do that, just lifting it up and down. If you're laying on your back, your knees are bent and your feet are on the ground, and you're just lifting one leg up at a time. Good, now one more. Now I want you to pull your knee in toward, if you're sitting on the chair, you're lifting your knee. If you're on the ground, you're pulling that knee toward your chest and then putting it down. Pull the knee in and put it down. Pull the knee in and put it down. Keep going, breathe out as you lift that leg. Let's do one more each side. Good. Now if you're seated on the chair, I want you to take your leg over and back, out and in. And if you're laying on the floor, I want you to just gently kind of grab the outsides of your thighs and then circle your knees away from each other, making a circle with your hips. So if you're seated in the chair, you're doing like an over the stool and back. And if you're laying down, you're circling. Now those who are laying down, switch the direction. Keep breathing. And one more, good. And let's come back up to sitting. All right. So I read that short version of Mark. I'm going to go back to the devotion. So again, this is entitled Soul Wrestling. It is often unsettling to realize anew that the distance from joy to despair is so short and also so long. Jesus, in offering himself for the cleansing ritual of baptism, has listened for and heard deep inside his soul that he is beloved, and his knowledge spurs him toward the soul wrestling that devastates and renews. Soul wrestling is a familiar story in Scripture. We think of Jacob and the angel, of Hagar in the wilderness, of the many unnamed women and men who cry out. Reach toward the healing love of God and limp forward, changed and blessed. Okay, so we're going to go into our back a little bit more. We're going to go into a cat-cow. If you're seated in the chair, you're going to do what you were before, where you're leaning forward, inhaling and exhaling, rounding up. All right, if you're on the ground, you're going to come to all fours. And we're going to do the cat-cow here. So you're going to let your back arch a little bit, dropping your stomach down a little bit, inhaling, and then exhaling. I really want you to round your back up by pulling your navel into your spine. Inhale, flat or round, lead with the heart if you're on the chair leaning forward, and then round into cat. Inhaling, flat, exhaling, round. Inhaling, flat, exhaling, round. Keeping those shoulders relaxed out of the ears. Let's do a couple more of these. Inhale, exhale. We're going to hold this last cat. So pull the navel in, shoulders down, chin to chest. Now if you're on all fours and that's a little intense, you can rock around a little bit if that feels better than holding it real still. Keep breathing. We're going to hold it a little bit longer. Now, if any stretch gets too intense with holding it, feel free to come out of it whenever you need to, okay? Good. Now, since I'm on the floor, I'm going to show the next one from here first. We're going to thread the needle. So I'm going to take my arm and I'm going to thread it underneath my other arm, and I'm going to let myself drop down, trying to get my shoulder onto the floor. If that doesn't work, go as far as you can. Your bottom is up in the air with this. If you've got a pillow close by, you can put the pillow down if going all the way down bothers you. Now, if you're sitting on the chair, we're going to take that arm across and give it a hug. Relax the shoulder, and if you want to deepen this, you can lean forward and try to rest that arm on your leg. If that's too much, then stay up taller, okay? So do what works for you. Breathe. And if you're on the floor, if you can get your head down to the floor, that's good too. Good, and gently release that, and then we're going to do the other side. So either bring that arm across and give it a hug, or go through like I am on the ground. And gently release that. And if you're on the floor, come back to sitting up. Okay, I'm going to read again from the devotion. In our wrestling places, we might ask for a sign, a promise, some hint that the anguish of this present moment is not all there is. Mark's gospel shrinks the story of Jesus' wilderness time to a few sentences, but between the lines there is a world of experience, as there is with ours too. It's a long story, we might say, without telling it. That's where Jesus is, coming to terms with the hunger of body, mind, and spirit, and as he wrestles, reciting to himself the promises of Scripture that he knows by heart, all while listening deeply to what God is revealing to him in the wilderness. All right, we're going to go into the chest and the biceps now. So if you're on the floor, you're going to take your hand behind you. Make sure you don't lean back, so I'm on my fingertips, and then I'm going to turn away so that I can feel that stretch going through my my chest and my bicep. Now, if you're seated on the chair, you can take that arm over the back of your chair and then turn away from it so that you feel that stretch coming across your chest and your bicep. So you're twisting away, but you're not twisting hard, but you're twisting away from that extended arm to get the stretch through the chest on the one side. And keep breathing. Relax the other shoulder down. Don't let it go up into your ear. And if you're seated and you want to make this a little deeper, you can lift that arm up off the ground to get that bicep a little bit more. And release that. Now I'm going to take that arm that was behind me and I'm going to bring it up like you want to pat yourself on the back of the shoulder. And then you're going to take your hand and I want you to press from the front here. I know people have the tendency to do this overhead, but that torques your neck. So you want to take it from here. And you can even put your hand against your neck to kind of keep it supported. Relax those shoulders. Now, if this is an intense stretch for you, you don't have to add that extra press if it's already enough just by doing the lift. I know this one can be challenging if you've got any shoulder issues. And again, just breathe through the stretch. So we stretch the bicep, now we're stretching the tricep. Good, and release that, kind of roll that shoulder out. And we're gonna do the same 2 stretches to the other side. So start off either over the chair on the other side or hand on the ground, and then twist away from that arm. You can lift it up. If you're on the ground, you can lift it up more if you want to feel that bicep a little bit more. Keep breathing. Your neck is getting a little bit of a stretch here as well. We'll do a deeper one in a little bit. Good, and release that, and now take that arm and reach behind. Push the elbow up as high as you comfortably can, and then you can press it a little bit more with that opposite hand. Again, only deepen it if it feels okay to do. Keep breathing. Good, and release that and just roll that out. So we're going to work our way down the arms here. We did biceps and triceps. Let's go into your wrists. So I want you to take your hand forward, palm up, and let your fingertips drop down toward the floor. And then take your other hand. Make sure you're not just grabbing the tips of your finger. You're grabbing a little bit of the palm as well. And pull back as you straighten out that arm. Just don't lock that arm out. And you should feel this in your wrists. This is the carpal tunnel stretch, so if you've got any issues with that, only go as far as you're comfortable. Keep breathing, relax the shoulders down. Make sure your arm's not lifted too high, it's just coming straight out. Good, and now flip the hand over, fingertips down. Come in front, grab the knuckles, and then pull back as you press this part of your hand forward. And this is the tennis elbow stretch. This may go up into your elbow. And just breathe. Good, and release that. And now take your palm up again. We're gonna give your fingers a stretch too. So starting with your pinky, grab that first joint closer to your hand and pull it back and support with your thumb on the opposite side of your finger so that you're kind of cradling that knuckle. And then switch, just pulling it back gently. We're focusing more where the finger meets the hand, stretching that part of your finger, and then switch to the next one and just make your way down your hand. And if you have any arthritis in your fingers, you may feel this a little deeper. And then the thumb, and shake that hand and arm out. Good, other hand, again, palm up, then fingertips down. Pull back as you press the base of the palm forward. Straight arm, just don't lock. And again, make sure you're grabbing a little bit of that palm so that you're not just grabbing your fingertips. And just keep breathing. Good, release that, flip it over, fingers down, grab from the knuckles, pull back as you press forward with the top of that wrist and hand. Good, shake that out a little bit. All right, palm up again, and let's do the fingers. Again, support with the thumb behind as you pull back, focusing on the joint that's closer to the hand. And then switch. This one we're not holding for 30 seconds each finger. We're just holding it a little bit each finger. And the thumb. And shake it out. Good. All right, I'm going to go back into reading. I'm going to read from Matthew now. And then we'll go into our lower body. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread." Jesus answered, "It is written, man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." All right, so if you are seated on the chair, I'm going to actually go up on the chair to show you this one. We're going to do a wide forward fold. So you're going to have your legs wider, and then you're going to slide your hands down. Push your elbows against your knees, but keep your back flat. So make sure you don't tip your head down and round your back. You want to keep your heart up, okay? Now, if you're on the ground, we're going to move our legs a little bit differently. We're going to be in a butterfly. So your feet are together. And pull them in a little bit, but not too much, all right? And then we're going to fold forward this way, okay? So go as far forward as you can, but we're going to start off keeping our chest up and our shoulders back, leading with the heart. So keep breathing. Now, if this is too intense, having your legs like this, you can scoot them out more until it feels better, okay? So we're stretching our inner thighs and our hips and our lower back. Keep breathing. And now I'm going to take my chin to my chest, and I'm going to let my body round over a little bit more. You can do the same thing if you're in the chair. Just kind of let your body relax into the stretch. Again, if it's too intense on the ground here, you can scoot your feet forward. If it's still too intense, you can take your feet apart if you're on the ground. Good. Now, if you're seated in the chair, I want you to take your hands to your thighs And slowly roll up, and then from the ground, same thing, slowly roll up so you don't get dizzy. And come up tall. Good. Now if you're on the ground, we're going to bend one leg in and we're going to straighten the other leg out. Okay? And then we're going to lean toward that leg. Now if you're seated in the chair, it's going to be the same type of thing. Your one knee is bent, your other leg, I want you to be on your heel, lift your toes, and then lean down toward that leg. So you're going to get a stretch down the back of that straight leg, and mainly in the thigh and the hamstring, but your calf's going to feel this too. And again, I want you to keep your chest up and your back flat, so don't let your head drop. Good, and release that, come up tall. Now if you're on the chair, I'm not going to keep going up and down. If you're on the chair, you're going to put your hand on your thigh. Okay, if you're on the floor, you're going to put your hand on the floor. Your opposite arm is going to come over. Shoulders down. Try to keep this hip down, don't let it pop up. Lift from the rib cage, relax the shoulder again. If this is too intense on your shoulder, you can let that arm drop forward a little bit. Otherwise, try to get that arm over your ear as much as you can. Keep breathing. This is one people will tend to hold their breath on, so make sure you keep breathing. It might not be very deep, but keep breathing. Good. Inhale, exhale to come out of that. And we're going to switch legs, and we're going to do the leg first. So if you're seated on the chair, bend that opposite knee, foot is flat, the other foot, you're up on your heel, your toes are lifted, and then lean down toward that leg as far as you comfortably can without rounding your back. So keep your chest up and your back flat. Your knee is straight, but it's not locked out tight. Just keep breathing. Breathe right into that leg. Inhale, exhale, come up taller. And again, if you're on the chair, hand goes to your thigh. If you're on the floor, hand goes to the ground. And then opposite arm comes up over the ear, or drop it forward if you need to. Lift from the rib cage. Keep the hip and the shoulder down. And just breathe. Exhale and come out of it gently. Good. Roll it out. All right. All right, right, we're going to do one more cat and cow just for our backs one more time. So again, if you're seated, you're coming forward and you're round. We're going to do this one even if you're on the ground. So forward, lead with the heart, bring it back. But if you're on the floor, if you want to take those feet out and bend the knees, you can grab the thighs. Inhale, exhale, round it up. Inhale, lead with the heart. Exhale, round it up. Inhale. Exhale one more time. And exhale, good. Go ahead and sit however's comfortable. We're gonna finish with your neck. I'm gonna read the last part of the passage here, and then I have one more part before we meditate a little bit. Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. If you are the Son of God, he said, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. Jesus answered him, it is also written, do not put the Lord your God to the test. Again, the devil took him to a high mountain and showed him all of the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. All this I will give you, he said, if you will bow down and worship me. Jesus said to him, away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve only him. Then the devil left him, and the angels came and attended him. So we're going to finish with your neck. I want you to take your ear to your shoulder like we did earlier, and we're going to leave it there. I want you to take the opposite arm and just let it relax down, okay? Now you can stay here. You should be getting the stretch on this side of your neck and the top of your shoulder. If you want to deepen it, you can gently pull your head a little bit more. If you're doing that, relax the shoulder as you're pulling, okay, and breathe. And you want to keep the nose and the chin facing outward to start off with. I'm going to have you move your head a little bit in a second, so try to keep the nose and the chin facing outward. Keep breathing. Good. So now I'm going to turn my head like I'm looking at my armpit. And it's going to go a little bit more into the back of the neck. Still on the side, but in the back. And keep breathing. Good. Release the head if you had your hand up, and then just roll your head side to side a little bit. And then bring your head to the other side, ear to shoulder. Let that opposite arm relax. Keep the shoulders down. If you want to deepen, you can gently pull the other way. Keep breathing, and again, keeping your nose and chin facing outward to start off with. And then gently turning the head, looking toward the armpit. Keeping the shoulders down and relaxed. Good. Release the head and let the head come chin to chest. Release the shoulders back and down. You can just stay here if you want. If you want to deepen it, you can take one or two hands on your head and gently pull the head down, chin into the chest a little deeper. Relax the shoulders and the elbows, just opening up the upper back and the neck a little bit. Breathe. and lift it up to neutral. And I'm gonna end the same way we started. I'm gonna read a little bit and we're gonna do some breathing to finish it off. As we seek to live well through Lent, we too will need to confront our wilderness places, wrestling again and again with the insecurities, the frustrations, the hungers that leave us feeling less than and not enough. Like Jesus, we listen and watch for signs in glimpses of rainbows, in refrains of psalms, words and images to help us remember the way from despair to hope. So we're going to do the breathing exercises one more time. You don't have to put your hands on your belly if you don't want to. I want you to close your eyes though and just reflect again on your wilderness and what good questions can come from it. All right. So let's just breathe deeply. And just breathe at your own pace here, but try to make it nice and deep. One trick to making it a little deeper is if you pause between your inhalation and your exhalation, you can usually get a little bit deeper exhalation then. Take a couple more breaths. And if you had your eyes closed, you can open your eyes. And let's take a couple of really big deep breaths. So inhale, lift up the arms. Exhale down. Inhale, exhale down. Good, one more time. Big inhale and exhale.